Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 141. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more. Today, we are talking about TooManyGames, Epic Mickey Rebrushed, Star Wars The Acolyte, and more. But as usual, will begin with our recent activities. So, Damian, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I got one thing I was playing. That's mostly just Dawntrail, the new expansion for 14. And we were at too many games, so I wasn't able to really play early access, and I've been busy with a bunch of other shit. But I've been able to put some good time into it over this past week. And I was surprised, when we were at too many games, I was looking at the Reddit just to see what people were thinking about the expansion. And it's been very mixed so far. And I was kind of interested because when things are kind of more contentious, I like to play it, see what my opinion is. I like to do that because I don't like to be I'm just going to follow the crowd or whatever. But, I like to play it myself. And, I'm a big fan of 14, but a lot of people are saying the story isn't up to snuff. And, a lot of people aren't happy with a lot of the job changes. And if you don't know, jobs are classes in this game. So people aren't really happy with how to change a lot of classes or whatever. So I went into the expansion. I mean, I already went in with expectations because Endwalker ended a whole 10-year story for this game. I knew this expansion was going to be lower stakes. I knew it was going to be more chill, so I kind of went into that knowing that. And right now I'm about a quarter of the way done with it. I just got up to the first trial, which is usually the first quarter of the game. And I don't know, I'm liking it quite a lot. I don't know, I think it's because the main character of the expansion isn't your character. Your main character kind of went through their whole story arc at the end of Endwalker. It kind of wrapped up all that stuff. So I think them kind of expanding the world, exploring a new area, and sort of having a main character that's not you. I don't know. I feel that was to be expected at this point. There's not much it could do with the core cast or your main character either. So I kind of went into this kind of expecting that, and it's kind of weird that people didn't expect that. Now, in terms of the character they're focusing on, that's more of a personal preference. The characters are really shonen protagonist-y, and some people aren't into that or whatever, because 14 has been more I guess a bit more grounded, and it's we're a bit more mature than that. But she's very I gotta help my friends and all that shit, and I guess some people didn't jive with that. But I don't know, I don't mind the character, and I think she's a fun character to follow around. I do think you spend a little too much time with that character. I felt you kind of are traveling with a group of characters, and those other characters don't really do shit. They kind of just sit around, and I feel they could have done a bit more with that. I'm still early in the expansion, so I don't know, but you do hang around a lot with this character, and I do feel that's kind of where a lot of the complaints are coming from in terms of story. But I don't know, I think it's been really enjoyable so far. I enjoy that character personally, and I think the new culture and world building they're doing is pretty neat. It's very based off South American cultures and stuff, and I think all the new zones are really pretty, and they really go into how all these characters interact with all the new shit going on. And I don't know, I've been personally enjoying the story so far. Other things they've done with this expansion is they updated the graphics, so the game looks a lot better. The game is already starting to show its age because it's over 10 years old at this point. The graphics overhaul makes the game look a lot prettier. A lot of textures look a lot nicer, especially a lot of they have a lot of scaly guys in this expansion, a lot of lizard men, and they look really good. Their textures look really nice, and I think it really makes the game pop a lot more. I think the game always looked a bit drab, it was always had a darker color palette, but this area is a lot more bright and colorful, and I think the graphics update has really helped pop everything out. It looks really nice. I actually really enjoyed the graphics update. And in terms of other stuff, a lot of the new dungeons and trials are a lot of fun. They really upped the difficulty this time, since a lot of the sort of leveling dungeons and trials are meant to be more easy because people are just kind of going through the story. But they really upped the difficulty. It's not the hardest thing ever, but they definitely add a lot more mechanics and a lot more AoE markers everywhere. As a caster, it's kind of hard to cast anything because there's so much shit on the ground. But it's been really enjoyable. I've been really enjoying the 2 dungeons I've done so far in the trial as well. And lastly, I guess it's more job balance stuff, which is more nitty gritty stuff for people to actually play the game. But I know some people aren't happy with how some jobs keep getting more simple, and a lot of the more hardcore players are oh, we can't really have as much skill expression with our classes anymore. And I get that. I do think they have been dumbing down some jobs a bit too much. I think Black Mage has been the big one this expansion. They basically just changed it to make it more in line with a lot of the other classes when Black Mage was kind of unique in how it played. And you were able to do like fancy stuff before to get more damage out or whatever. But now they changed it to be more of a set rotation, and people really don't like that. And I think healers were really mad or something. There was like some healer strike. I don't fucking know. I don't play healers, so I don't know. All I know is that they want more DPS abilities because they only have like one, and just spam that if they're not healing. And a lot of the older content, they don't really require healers to heal that much because damage is really predictable in 14 because fights are really like scripted to do stuff. So yeah, they were kind of mad about it. But for me personally, I've been happy with a lot of changes Red Mage got, which is my main class. I think they added a lot of new buttons to make it more fun, since Red Mage is kind of like predictable in the way you play it, but they added some more like off global cooldowns or whatever to make it more engaging to play, and I've been really enjoying that. They added 2 new classes. The one I was the most excited for was Pictomancer. It's a new caster, and the last caster we got was like in 2017 when Stormblood came out. So I was very happy to play a new mage, and they're a lot of fun. I love the spell effects, it's all like paints and spells and shit, and it's a lot of fun. I've been leveling that up on the side as well. But yeah, overall I've been really enjoying Dawntrail right now. I'm kind of like confused of why it's been so mixed, but and I heard the story gets better later anyway, and I'm very enjoying the story. So I guess I'll give my full thoughts. Hopefully by next podcast, maybe I could finish it up and get to the end game stuff. But yeah, right now I've been enjoying Dawntrail, and I don't know. I feel like the hate feels a little forced. Like I feel like people went into this with weird expectations because, you know, it's kind of like from Endgame to wherever Phase 4 was. Like there was some good Phase 4 stuff, but you also gotta like, you know, set up things for later. Like you can't have like another big payoff so early. Obviously, you know, the MCU has been kind of floundering with that shit, but you know, hopefully 14 doesn't do that as well, and we could just kind of get some nice world building and new setup for other story arcs. But yeah, right now Dawntrail has been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying it, and it's probably all I'm gonna be playing for the next 2 weeks for a little bit. So yeah.
All right. So before we headed off to TooManyGames, I actually finished Sly 1 and I made a review on it. But just to summarize my thoughts on here, yeah, it's a really great port. I mean, if you have PlayStation Plus Premium, you should definitely give it a shot because it's for free. But if you don't have it, like me, it's only $10. Yeah, free quote unquote, you know. So you're already paying for that service, so you might as well use it. But Sly 1 on the PlayStation 5/PS4 is a very good emulation. It doesn't emulate the PS3 version, which is pretty much very similar. It just emulates the PS2 version, and you have emulation features. Obviously, you get the rewind stuff and save states and pretty much anything you would want from a emulation on a console, which is pretty cool. This is my first time ever using like those emulation features, and I was kind of going crazy with the rewind mechanic because I was just like, well, I messed up here, you know, let me just like rewind like a few frames to like, you know, not miss that jump or not get hit or whatever. So yeah, I mean, Sly 1 is great. I hope that they port more of the games on there, just because I will give Sony $10 every single time to replay them on modern hardware, especially if they have those emulation features. And yeah, you know, like I said in my video, if you haven't played Sly 1 yet, or if you have and you want to play it again, give Sony that $10 to let them know, hey, we like Sly Cooper, you know, let's make more games like this or whatever. So
yeah, I mean, I bought it. I haven't played. I do want to replay it again, but I know Sly, like a lot of people bought it because when you look at the ratings for each of those classic games, Sly has like 3K reviews or whatever. Like people are hungry for a new Sly game. So hopefully Sony gets the message and like obviously port 2 and 3, but also maybe consider like a new Sly game. That would be pretty cool. So
like baby steps, you know.
Yeah, it's always baby steps.
If they even want to do like another collection, I'm down for that too. You know, just give us anything because, you know, it's been quite some time for the Thieving Raccoon. Then on to some other things. I watched A Quiet Place Day 1, slowly getting back into going to the movies a little bit, and this one is just as good as the previous ones. It's a prequel, obviously Day 1, sort of when everything went down, and you follow these 2 new characters and sort of how they go through about, you know, this whole new world of like these monsters where like if you make the slightest sound, you're gonna fucking die. So obviously because this is a prequel, you really don't know what's going to happen in terms of what the fate of these characters are, just because the moments are very tense, just like the previous movies. You know, whenever someone makes a sound or something happens or like the monster's like in their face, it's like, holy shit, like what is going to happen? I really do like these films. I realized when when I went on Letterboxd, there's a lot of people that are just like not really that impressed by this series by John Krasinski, which is understandable. Personally, when I watched the first film, I was like floored by it, just because I feel like these movies have to be watched in theaters, just because of the fact that anyone who makes a sound in the theater is like echoed. Like everyone can fucking hear it, just because of how quiet the movie is already. If someone's like, moving in their seat or like, coughing or some shit, like it's obviously going to be heard. So, definitely if you have a chance and you like the previous films, go check this one out. If you didn't like the previous ones, I can't necessarily say you should go and watch this one, because it very much doesn't push what the previous films did better. It's just more of the same, but it's still good in that regard. But yeah, I mean, July is going to be packed with movies. We already got fucking Despicable Me 4, and obviously with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Bro. Yeah.
Yes, they are everywhere. The funny thing is that at the theater that I went to go see A Quiet Place, I think someone broke the standee, so they were trying to fix it, but one of the minions was just like shifted over, and I was just like, this is very funny. But anyways, the last thing that I've been watching, other than like the weekly things, because I have been watching The Boys, which is very, very good, and alongside obviously The Acolyte, which we will talk about later. But my girlfriend wanted to watch Bridgerton, and the reason why I'm talking about it on here is because it's actually like a good show. With the whole, I guess, like the notion that like Netflix doesn't have a lot of great like original stuff. People really only think of like Stranger Things, which people have been waiting for a few years now for. There is still like good programming on Netflix. You really just have to look at it and sort of look for it and really be like an open mind with it. That isn't like a documentary or like a reality TV show, because like that's like what Netflix is like cluttered with now. This is like one of their actual like high budgeted like drama television shows. So Bridgerton is very much like a girly pop show, I'm not gonna lie, but as someone who just likes entertainment and likes media, this is like a genuinely like well-written show, has great characters, has a interesting story that you could sort of get behind if you're sort of into like what this show is trying to show you. So it's pretty much about like this family who every single season is focusing on one of them who's trying to find love, and the way that they go about it and sort of their personalities and how they clash with the other person that they end up with is very interesting. Obviously, when it comes to shows like this, it always comes down to if they just sat down in a room and just fucking talked to each other, everything would be solved. But that's not how simple this show is. And it takes place within the 1800s and sort of like that, I guess, like olden days of like England and shit like that. So they talk like that with the accents and everything like that. So if you can get behind the premise and sort of like the story of it, it is good. I'm like more than halfway done with season 2. Season 3 just came out recently, so I know my girlfriend's gonna make me watch that as well. But at the end of this, she will hopefully make us, or I will make her watch The Bear, because I've been wanting to watch that for a while because I just hear so many great things about it. But yeah, Bridgerton. If you are into just like good television, give like the first 4 episodes of season 1 a shot. If you're not into it, you're not into it. Each episode is an hour long, but I feel like they really jam pack in a lot of stuff to really get you invested into the characters, the writing, and everything like that. Like I was honestly very surprised by how good the writing of the show is. But anyways, let's talk about TooManyGames a little bit, because this is my first time ever doing a road trip, and Damian flew down for it, and we have a lot of great stories to come out of it. So let's just talk about the convention as a whole, and then we'll get into the shenanigans that we got into. But we only did day 1, even though we bought a fucking 3-day pass. We went Saturday, and I think that it was, for me personally, this was obviously like a game convention that I've known for years now, ever since with Some Call Me Johnny, and I was like, I really want to go here one day. And I went there with a decent amount of cash, because I know that when you go to game conventions like this, you should carry cash with you so you could deal with the vendors a lot better, and they're willing to go down with prices a little bit more, even though if it's like $5 usually, that's better than like paying extra because of a card purchase. But yeah, Damien, what'd you think of the convention?
Yeah, honestly, I really did enjoy it, because, the only conventions we went to were, like anime conventions and stuff. And, I'm not like as inclined to buy like a figure or whatever, or like, I guess maybe like a manga or whatever. But, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with a figure, right? Like, it just feels very like more collection based. And obviously a lot of these games are for collection purposes, but there's still like practical use for them, right? Like I feel like anime figures I'm not like that crazy for or whatever. And they're always fun to go to, but I feel like a gaming convention is something I'd be more into. And surprisingly, we haven't really been to a whole lot of them. They went to the early Long Island Gaming Expo one, like right when it opened up. With me and Travis went. Like I don't even know how long ago that was. Like
2016, 2017. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went like the first 2 years, and it was fun. But it was also like, one, we were poor because we were like we didn't have money. I mean, we're still poor, but we didn't have like as much spending money. But now that we're a bit older and we're able to like actually afford stuff and go to this big gaming convention with a bunch of vendors and stuff. It was a lot of fun. Like I had a really good time, like buying a bunch of games. I always had a bit of money to spend, and I was able to get a lot of the things I wanted to get in terms of like collection based stuff. And was also able to get like a bunch of games I didn't even know I wanted, but they were like good deals. So I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll buy that. Why not? So I really enjoyed it. Like I don't know how much joy you would have coming to here if you didn't have spending money, because I saw online before we went, like people say act like this is more like a marketplace than anything, because it kind of is. Like you're kind of there to buy games and have a good time doing it, and it's fun. It's good to like walk around, see all the rare games people have. I was trying to look for like some more rare stuff, like Mario and Luigi Bowser Inside Story on 3DS, because that's really rare, but I couldn't find it. But I was able to find a bunch of other cool stuff. So, and in terms of like the expo hall itself, is actually like a lot more modest than I thought it was going to be, since this is like, probably one of the bigger gaming conventions besides like PAX or whatever. And it's like kind of in the middle of nowhere in Philly. And like the Expo Center is kind of just like, it's not like fancy or anything. Like when we went to like Anime NYC, that's like a really nice fancy convention center. This one basically is just a warehouse with like a bunch of things in it. Even like the panel halls are just like in the same room. They just have like little curtains. It's kind of crazy to look at just because of how big this convention is and how many big names are in it, So it was shocking to see just how like kind of like modest it is, for lack of a better word. But it was fun. I did have a good time in the actual convention. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely most cons are, the most fun you'll get is the more money you spend, and obviously getting things that you really want. And it is kind of weird that we haven't gone to a lot of gaming conventions outside of the Long Island Retro ones, which I will be going to next month. But it was obviously a ton of fun just seeing how big this convention actually was. There is a decent amount of walking room. I would say once you get into certain vendors, there's not a lot of that. I think that's my biggest complaint, is that like some of the vendors, I feel like they had a ton of stuff, but there's just not enough room to navigate it, which, I get, because they're trying to make money and shit like that, and that's like the space that they got, so they're trying to maximize it. I'm not going to necessarily say it's their fault, but maybe the convention could have given each vendor, depending on what they were selling, a little bit more room, because just like trying to be shoulder to shoulder with some people as like they're looking at games, I'm looking at games, trying to like get shit off of the shelf. Like that vendor that I got the Mario and Luigi game, Damian, like just getting in there, and I was like, oh my god, there's like so much stuff here. But obviously I was like on like a mission, if you will, trying to find every Mario and Sonic Olympic Games title there. But it was just a lot of fun. I think that to anyone that just wants to do other stuff there as well, like I think they obviously like panels, and I think TooManyGames is known for like their concerts as well. So if you like to hang out around the convention as well after like 5 or 6 o'clock, I think that's when they do the concerts. But for us personally, we were just there to like buy games and like just see what other people had and whatnot. But I was very surprised how fast I was able to spend like $470. I was like, holy shit. I'm like empty. So
yeah, it really does drain your wallet. And I kind of wish maybe I could have seen more like the famous people there, or YouTube famous, because there's a lot of YouTubers I watched there.
Yes.
Like obviously some Kami Johnny, Ant Dude, which we did see.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, that was like so random. So we were just going back to our hotel, and he was just standing there with his girlfriend, and like they were just chilling. So like I was just like, I have to say hi, because like we've been watching him since like the Sonic Dude 101 days.
Yeah, like 2008.
So, yeah, that's like over a decade I've been fucking watching this guy on and off, obviously. But yeah, I just walked up to him, gave him a fist bump. I was like, hey, man, just love your videos. Don't mean to bother. And then just walked away. Because, like, obviously, like, when it comes to, I guess, like, YouTubers and whatnot, like, when I see them at, like, conventions, like, all I tried to do is just say hi. If I can get a photo, if it's, like, not busy or whatever, like, I got a photo with some Kami Johnny at MagFest. years ago on Thursday, because like it's fucking Thursday, like no one's there.
Yeah.
So I was just like, hey, can I like get a photo? And like that was it. You know, like if it was like Saturday and I saw him, I'd be like, no, we cannot get a photo here, bro. There's like so many people here and whatnot. But yeah, you know, that was just like probably the highlight for me personally. Not even at the convention, just seeing that guy.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy, like just seeing someone, you know, you always like, oh, I've seen this guy on YouTube for like many years, and just seeing them in real life is like kind of crazy still. Mostly because, you know, I don't really go to a lot of conventions, so whenever that does happen, it's like kind of like crazy. It's like, oh yeah, you're a real person, so it's really cool. Obviously, like I know, I was thinking about getting a signing before we went, but I'm like, I saw some comment Johnny said like his line was like gigantic, so I was like probably not even gonna wait at that, to be honest. But it's still cool that, you know, there was just so many people there. So yeah, I really had a good time at the convention. So
yeah, definitely. Maybe we'll go back another year. Maybe not next year. We'll see. You know, definitely have to save up money and plan ahead of time. But yeah, definitely driving there was not fun. My ass was hurting for like the first hour or two before we got to the service roads and whatnot. But yeah, and also the fucking gravel pit. Oh my god.
Yeah. So, all right. So Travis, you know, he was the one driving because I took a plane and they drove. So there was a lot of parking lots, but there was one with like sort of like a gravel pit area, and it seemed like the biggest parking area to be at. So it's just like, yeah, let's just go there, I guess. So we parked all the way in the back of it because, you know, we thought, hey, it'll be easier to get out than like try to park in the front and like, you know, all the craziness happening. So it's like, okay, that's fine. So we left, went to the convention, came back maybe like 3 hours later, I think. You know, we walked through the gravel pit, we get into the car. Travis pull out. We're like, oh, we're gonna get some fucking where were we going?
Cracker
Golden
Barrel.
Corral. Oh, Cracker Barrel. Yeah, we're gonna get fucking Cracker Barrel. Like, yeah, this is gonna be great. We pulled out. Like the whole fucking parking lot was blocked in. So, you know, yeah, I understand how it was structured. So it was just like, you know, like lines of cars going this way throughout the gravel pit, and there was cars the whole line. So it was just a whole line of cars, and on either end were two sort of like curbs, right?
Yeah, tall ass curbs.
Yeah, tall ass curbs. So if you wanted to go out of the curb, you really needed a big car. Because early on, we saw a car try to do it that wasn't as big, and like fucking like the bumper came off, whatever the fuck. Like some piece of that car came off. So we were like, okay, we're not doing that because Travis got a little car, and we're not going to be able to make that, you know, jump that curb. So we were able to get out of one of these spots because, you know, a lane was open, so we went out. But the other end was totally blocked, and we were stuck there for like 2 hours. And, you know, no one was really there to help us. You know, there was a lot of people that were trying to get out and, you know, to call the cops, but the cops couldn't do anything because it was private property. So, so TooManyGames would have to be the ones to actually like do anything about it. I think later on staff members did start coming out, but I'm still not too sure if they were staff or not. You know, they weren't really wearing like the red shirts or whatever, but we think they were. I don't fucking know. But either way, we were basically there for 2 hours, hungry, waiting to get out. And finally, someone was able to finally pull out of one of the corners over there, and everyone was able to leave. I think they made a tweet like later in the day, like, hey, if you're blocking the gravel pit, don't do that. But like, who's gonna fucking read the Twitter? It had like 2 likes. Like no one was reading that. So yeah, it was kind of a mess.
Yeah, that was probably like the worst part of the convention by far. It was just like, all right, guys, let's get out of here. Let's go grab some food. And then I pull out, and then I'm like, wait, this guy's circling. I'm circling. We're fucking stuck. And it was just us two at first. And then it ended up being like 5 people after like an hour or so. And then before we even got out, it was like, okay, now there's like 10 plus cars like waiting to get out. And obviously some of them, they were like big ass trucks. So then they just went over the curb, no fucking problem. But like you said, that one like tiny like sedan, I was like, okay, yeah, like that's like my car. I cannot be doing that. So, and like I'm all the way from fucking New York to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, or whatever, and I'm like, if I fuck up my car, I'm gonna hear it. So I don't want to do that. But yeah, that was actually like egregious, and I cannot believe that there was no one or no cones or anything like that to make sure that people didn't get blocked in the back. Because I was like, well, you know, like I don't want to park in the front, not just because of like the chaos or whatever, but also just like to make sure that other people could get back there to park, because obviously this is like a fucking massive gaming convention. There's gonna be a ton of people that are gonna be trying to park. So I was also just trying to be considerate, and then it was just like, well, now we're like stuck here for 2 hours, and the fact that the cop came over and was just like, shrugged, can't really do much, and I was like, well, that's a cop, all right. But yeah, it was kind of crazy that like Too Many Games was just like, I guess they couldn't make a announcement in the expo, which is kind of weird, but it is what it is, because it is such like a massive convention, and they probably didn't have like the speakers or whatever the case was. But the fact that they just tweeted it was just like, all right, well, hopefully this solves itself, and it's like, well, we were there for 2 hours extra for no goddamn reason, so it is what it is.
I just feel like it's weird for a convention that's been going on for this long and for how big it is that it didn't have someone there to direct traffic or to sort of make sure that the parking lots were like safe to get out. All you really need is like one guy there. They could give him like an umbrella, like kind of like how they do at Disney or whatever. Like they have like some guy sitting and have an umbrella and like direct traffic or whatever. I feel like that probably wouldn't be that much of an effort to do. And because you can't trust people to park. Like people are gonna like
especially
just
gamers.
Go, especially gamers. Like they're gonna go wherever, and then if you see that you're parked all the way in the side that no one could get out, and you think that's fine, then that's like you should get towed. Because I'm like, what are you doing? They obviously leave space for people to actually get out. So I feel like it was definitely a fail on the convention to not like have some, mostly because it was their parking lot. Like at first I'm like, is this even their parking lot? Like, are we parking at like some random lot? But apparently it was, because the officer was like, yeah, I can't do anything. So it was kind of their responsibility to make sure traffic was getting diverted and all that shit. So definitely feel like that shouldn't be a thing next year, but I guess we'll see. But either way, I still had a good time at the convention, but that was kind of a fucking mess. So yeah.
Yeah, if you ever plan on going to Too Many Games, avoid that fucking gravel pit.
Yeah, do not go to the gravel pit. Go to like an actual parking lot. Like, because people cannot be trusted.
Even if you have to walk like an extra 5-10 minutes to the convention, it's worth it than being stuck there for 2 hours like we were. But
yep.
Yeah.
I guess I could also talk about my trip home.
Oh yeah. You are,
so I had an adventure try to get back home. So we left on Sunday morning. So they were able to drive back home. I had to take a plane. I won't say the airline, but they're going on my shit list. So basically, my flight got delayed from 3 to 5. I'm like, fine. And then when Travis was dropping me off to the airport, it got canceled. So I'm like, okay. I guess I'll take this one at 7 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, it should be fine. So I wasn't panicking yet. But, there was a lot of storms in that area. I think the whole East Coast was having like a lot of storms that day.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Philly was just like, got really dark by the time it was like 6. And basically every flight was grounded. So I'm like, okay, this isn't good. So I kept seeing my flight get delayed from like 7 to 8 to 9 to 10. And I'm like, this isn't looking good, Chief. But finally, at 11 o'clock, the plane was finally there. They were changing gates around. They're like, okay, we're going to start boarding in like 5 minutes. I'm like, yeah, this is great. I get to go home, a lot later than I expected, but whatever, that's fine. And then they got fucking canceled because the crew timed out, which is really stupid. I don't know why airports do this, where you should know your crew's going to time out. Like, why delay it that long and just be like, oh, we're just going to give you false hope and like cancel it. So eat shit. It makes like no sense. Like it would allow me time to actually like, rebook a flight earlier and maybe get a hotel earlier. So I'm not like stuck stranded at like 12 a.m. trying to look for something. But that's what happened. So I had to find a hotel, and then I was able to rebook, not with that airline. I was able to get another airline because they were actually reliable and I like them. So I was able to get that. I already said it. So yeah, you know what? Fuck you, American. I hate you. So I was able to go in the front desk in the morning after I woke up, and they were just like, yeah, we can't really do anything for you. So sorry. And that sucked, I'm very happy I was able to rebook with another airline because my dad was just like, hey, just try to rebook for American. I'm like, I don't trust them, so I'm not going to do that. So I went for some other airline, and a good thing I did because they were all booked out. I also forgot it was like July 4th, like, it was going to be like a really busy travel season, which didn't even cross my mind until I got home. I'm like, oh, fuck, yeah, good thing I did do that then because every flight was booked. So, but luckily I was able to get back home. Coming back home, there was a lot of thunderstorms, so I had like a really scary airplane ride back home, but I finally got back home. I was able to get my money back, so everything's fine. But yeah, it was quite the fucking experience. Let me tell you that. But yeah, on top of the 2-hour gravel pit lot, it was definitely a fun travel experience, and I am good for traveling for at least a year.
Yeah, so, it was definitely a unlucky trip in some regards, but hey, you know what? We did have a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun. Yeah. Despite all of it, I'm looking. I keep looking at my stack of games that I got. I'm like, yeah, those are really good pickups. I think I got them for good prices. They're definitely games I do want to play once I have more time. And I honestly, I'm more excited to just go to more gaming conventions like this. I know things like PAX and MagFest, I guess. I think that's more like music and gaming
as well.
MomoCon as well. I know some of them are more especially PAX is more you actually play the games. But I kind of shopping around, and it's really cool to give someone $20 and then you get the game. You don't need to worry about tax or whatever. And yeah, I think it was a really fun experience. Me and Travis had a really good time. Just buying a shit ton of games. And yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, just coming back home with $0, I was like, shit, I really.
Yeah, I did spend a lot more money than I wanted to, but that's okay. I was able to recoup my money, so it should be okay.
That was my intention, anyways. But yeah, definitely a fun con experience. I don't know how much I'll have for Long Island Retro, but I'll definitely have some cash on me. We'll see. All right, so let's quickly get into the news. There were only 3 things that really stuck out to us. So first up, we got Epic Mickey Rebrushed. We got a release date reveal, and on top of that, we got a collector's edition reveal as well. So the game is coming out September 24th, 2024, which is a lot sooner than I expected. I honestly thought it'd be maybe October, but I guess they're a lot more ready than expected. And on top of that, when you look at October to December, it's kind of fucked up. So you gotta try to get in there early, especially because this game is going to retail for, I believe, $50 or something like that, for a full retail price. So, this isn't going to be some, I guess $20, $30 port kind of thing. They're actually going all in with it, which is great. I'm excited to see that. I definitely want to play for the first time the original Epic Mickey before I dive into this one, so I could actually see what the enhancements and what the differences are, that they are sort of remaking this game.
Yeah, I'm also excited for this. I don't know if I'm going to buy it day one just because there's so many other games coming out September, October that, I'm kind of prioritizing those games instead. But it does look like a remaster that's pretty faithful to the original game. But also carefully done. They redid all the CG cutscenes to make them look a lot nicer. Obviously, the game itself looks really nice. I'm more just concerned about how they're going to improve the gameplay or whatever. Because I have played Epic Mickey 1 when it first came out. And it's a very okay game. It does a lot of things that are cool, but it's kind of just hampered by a lot of things that are just kind of middling and stuff. The controls and just how the game plays.
The camera.
The camera is really, really bad. But I definitely feel like it has a lot of heart to it. And I think if they improved it just a little bit, I think it could be pretty good. It has a really good idea and premise to it. It just kind of needs that extra love. And, obviously Epic Mickey 2 didn't do that because that game was pretty bad. But the Epic Mickey 1 did have some potential. So I'm happy to see Purple Lamp doing this, which I believe they did the SpongeBob games. They did the remake of Battle for Bikini Bottom, and they did the new one that came out. I'm forgetting, Cosmic Shake. Yeah. So, and both of those games were really good. So I have a lot of faith that it could do something really good here. Obviously, I think it's retailing for quite a bit of money, and that's probably the Disney bucks over there. They're like, hey,
yep.
Mickey got to sell for no less than 50. So, but yeah, I guess we'll see when it comes out. I'm more just concerned how they're going to improve gameplay, if at all, since it is still a remaster, apparently. It's not really a remake. So I think they are still using the same old engine and whatever. So hopefully they can improve it because it has a good premise. And I think Epic Mickey could be pretty good if they put more time and money into it. And, I watch a lot of videos about this game because it has a really interesting development history. Disney really wanted this to be a big thing. They put a lot of money into this game, and it just did not meet expectations. So hopefully the second time around it can, and maybe Disney could do something cool with this sort of Epic Mickey branding. But I guess we'll see when it comes out.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so next we got even more remasters. So we got Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, and this is coming out September 19th. And this is basically a remaster of the first Dead Rising. And, it's pretty funny because, Dead Rising's kind of been dead for Capcom for quite a while. I don't remember when the last one was. I think the last one was when the Xbox One came out or something, which was Dead Rising 4. Like I kind of stopped paying attention to the series after 2, like 1 and 2 and like its DLCs I thought were really good, and then after that I kind of stopped caring after 3 and 4 came out. Like I like keep forgetting the Rayman games. When I think of Dead Rising, I think of mostly 1 and 2. So it's kind of cool to see them remaster this game in the RE engine. And it looks great. It still is a remaster at its core, like still using a lot of the same fundamental gameplay stuff. Like, it's not going to be like a totally drastic remake, but I think the graphic overhaul looks really nice. They're improving some quality of life things that you can move out aiming now. I think the AI is a little less dumb now, which thank God, because out of all the games that need remasters and like quality of life things, is definitely Dead Rising 1. Dead Rising 1 is very frustrating for a lot of its like stuff. Like the time management, the AI being dumb as shit, just the game being really like old, like in terms of mechanics. Like, I think Dead Rising 2 did a lot to really improve that gameplay loop. So I'm really hoping they improve it with Dead Rising 1. I know there's some controversy with Frank West's voice actor. Like, it's like a new guy. They didn't get the old guy back. And apparently Capcom just didn't even like offer him the role, which kind of sucks. I kind of hate when the companies do that. Yeah. But he sounds fine, he seems pretty okay with the fact that he didn't get the role again, but again, it's still pretty shitty at Capcom to just not do that. But I feel like they never keep the same voice actors anyway. They always switch everyone around, so it's whatever, I guess. But either way, it looks like a really nice sort of like boost into the Dead Rising IP, and hopefully we could get more Dead Rising games again, because I do like the series. Like, hopefully they could maybe remaster 2 and then forget 3 and 4 even happened and like make it a new continuity into those games. But yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, I have a lot of memories playing the original Dead Rising back on the Xbox 360. I borrowed it from my neighbors, James and Louie, and this was my first ever, I guess, like zombie game, and like some of the boss fights were actually like very unsettling and very scary. Yeah. Just like rewatching this trailer, I was like, oh yeah, I fucking... I remember that goddamn clown and like all of these... These other enemies. I'm like, okay, yeah, like this game actually like kind of scared me, even though like it also had like this goofy undertone with it where it was like, yeah, you have like all these wacky guns and you could like do all these stupid things to like kill the zombies or whatever, but like those boss fights were like actually kind of freaky. But yeah, I am excited to see what gameplay improvements and sort of how they actually revive this series, because Dead Rising I feel like is one of the few Capcom IPs that they have yet to tap back into, and obviously like doing a remaster is like a surefire way to like see how much interest there is within a series still. Because if they were to just do like Dead Rising 5, even with Frank West, I feel like that wouldn't succeed. Obviously pulling at nostalgia and getting people back in to be like, hey, remember the first Dead Rising? Well, now we're remastering it for the current generation, and I think it's going to be great. I definitely want to pick this up day one to see, or sort of remember the first game experience, but also see what other quality of life changes that they improve on. And hopefully Capcom will, see those numbers, and hopefully they are good enough to potentially get other Dead Rising things or whatever, because Frank West is like the main character within the Dead Rising series. I feel like anytime that they change up the main character that you were playing as, it always never goes right. Even with Dead Rising 2, they did like a retcon where like they were like, okay, now we got Dead Rising 2 off the record with Frank West now, and then Dead Rising 3 they went back to a different character, and then Dead Rising 4 once again Frank West returned. So yeah, just fucking stick with this guy because people like him. It does suck that the original voice actor did not even get offered that role again, because I feel like that would have been icing on the cake for a lot of people. But he sounds fine. I think that the new guy will do just as good of a job, if not maybe even better. But, we'll just have to wait and see. This game is coming out September 19th, very, very soon. I love it when games do this, where they're like, hey, guys, we got this new game, and it's coming out so soon, because that means you can stay excited for it. And, you don't have to wait so long for the game to actually release.
Just another game coming out in the fall season. Jesus Christ. Like, there's so many games I want to play, bro. Like, it's actually insane how stacked the last bit of the year is. But you know what? Just bring it on, I guess.
Yeah. All right, so last bit of news we got here is Batman Caped Crusader. I believe this is sort of like a spiritual successor, not necessarily a sequel to the Batman animated series, but, it does very much look like that, and it's going to take a different approach to the Batman universe, which, we've seen countless iterations of that character. He's pretty much DC's most popular superhero. And you got executive producers J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves, and Bruce Timm. This was one of the many series that I believe Warner Brothers had to shop around for, and it looks like it is coming to Amazon Prime on August 1st. So Yeah, it looks good. As someone who has not watched the Batman animated series, but I obviously know of its reputation, I'm excited to see how this new series is able to take the Cape Crusader in a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, I also never watched the anime series, and I know a lot about it. I have never watched it before, but I know people that really like the animated Batman stuff. You know, either the animated series or all the other cartoons that Batman's been in. You know, I think his animated like track record has always been pretty good. I mean, DC in general's like animation stuff has always been pretty good. So, you know, I can't say the same about their movies a lot of the time, but in terms of like animated stuff, they've always been pretty good. So, I think this was his last role as Batman too. Kevin Conroy, or is that a new guy, right?
Yeah, they got a whole new cast of people to do the voices and whatnot, which, you know, is appropriate. I think that, you know, if you're gonna stray away from the sort of animated series stuff but still look like it, you know what, that's fine. And, you know, getting a whole new voice cast for it, you know, he does sound pretty good as a Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see like how like, you know, they're going to do stuff, like how to reinvent stuff. I know like Harley Quinn looks a lot different. So I'm sure he's going to have his own identity, because that's kind of the hard thing whenever you do like, all right, we're going to do like new stories with like, you know, the same old character. You always have to come up with like, how we're going to make it different, right? Like same whether you're starting like Spider-Man stuff or all the other incarnations of Batman, and, you know, like how we're going to make this feel different and not just like a rehash. So that's always interesting to see how they spin stuff. So definitely excited to see this. You know, I really do need to watch more of these Batman animated stuff in general, but it's looking good. So I remember this wasn't a series like not like it was like canceled in development but came back or something. I don't know. I remember reading something about that.
So it was I think it was part of like the Warner Brothers buyout. I could be wrong there or whatever, but it was something was going on where they were like, we can't necessarily fund this project for HBO Max or whatever. And then they were like, we're going to shop it around to see who wants it. And obviously like people are going to fucking want this because it has Matt Reeves, J.J. Abrams, and fucking goddamn it, I forget the last name. But, you know, they're like part of the executive producer team. It's like no fucking brainer. Like they know, fucking Matt Reeves, you know, like they know who Batman is, like they know what they're going to do or whatever. So it's like, okay, you know, like this is obviously going to, you know, actually be a show. And, you know, now that it is coming to Amazon Prime Video, I think it is going to be very, very exciting. And hopefully that it delivers to fan expectations, you know, which, you know, are probably considerably high because it looks like the animated series. But if it doesn't land like that, you know, just give it the other season that it has also been ordered, because I believe there's only 2 seasons right now. So depending on how this first season does, I'm sure we will get more of it.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's talk about Star Wars The Acolyte, episode 5 and 6, probably the fucking best episodes of the series so far, because now we know what the fuck's going on. Or we kind of know what's going on. You know, we now know who the true antagonist is, Qimir, who is played by Manny Jacinto, and he is fucking all over Twitter, thirst trapping, you know.
Yeah, thirst trap Sith Lord, yeah.
Respect, but let's take it one episode at a time. And episode 5, you know, just pretty much getting to that climactic battle that was sort of cut off at the end of episode 4, I think was all worth it, just because we get to see him really show like who the fuck he is and sort of like his actual power, because it was like kind of crazy to see it within the trailer where it was like, okay, yeah, like he's gonna take on all of these fucking Jedi, like how is that gonna work? And he just ends up killing some of them too. Like he fucking killed Yori, he killed Jackie. I'm like, okay, yeah, like
killed like everyone.
Yeah, he ain't fucking around. The only one he kept alive is obviously May and Osha and Soul. So it's like, okay, you know, like he's still playing like his game here to sort of like get to like the bottom of like what he wants is sort of like the truth of everything. But yeah, I mean, like his reveal and sort of like how he fights and sort of him deactivating those fucking lightsabers, I was like, what the fuck? This guy's like crazy. So yeah, I believe he is the first Sith Lord within the sort of like Disney universe. I don't think Kylo Ren ever became a Sith Lord, but you know, the fact that he is the first one within this new sort of, I guess, like Disney Star Wars era is pretty cool, and rightfully so, because he is fucking insane and always a pleasure to see on screen for guys and girls, obviously. But yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that, because I'm still not sure like where they're going with the whole retconning of the Sith Lord, well, I guess the new canon or whatever, because you know Sith have always been like a thing in like ancient times or whatever the fuck, and you know I know this takes place pretty far back in the Disney timeline, but like I forgot to like, retconned a lot of things. Like Old Republic stuff, I guess, doesn't like happen anymore with what was his name from the games? Was it Dark Revan? I forget. But I'm pretty sure he was like one of the first and stuff. But either way, I guess this guy is now gonna be one of the new like first Sith Lords. I'm still not too entirely sure what they're going with. Like, I don't know if this is the first time that they're seeing anyone with the dark side of the Force or what, or if there are Sith Lords, but either way, it was still a really cool action sequence. Him using his like helmet to like deactivate lightsabers was pretty interesting. Seeing someone just headbutt a lightsaber, I was very confused. I'm like, why the fuck are the lightsabers not working? And I'm like, oh, it's because his like helmet is doing that. And his fighting style was really cool as well. He's very brutal and like killing like a bunch of Jedi all at once. I've always liked it when they do stuff like that. I think the 2003 cartoon of the Clone Wars, not the CGI one, but the guy who made Samurai Jack, he made like that Clone Wars thing. And when General Grievous is like killing all those Jedi, I've always loved that shit because it's just like, damn, look how brutal Star Wars could be when you're just doing stuff. And I always liked that as a kid, and seeing that like happen again, but like in live action, I'm like, damn, they fucking nailed it. Him just being like this sort of like slasher villain, just killing everyone was like pretty cool. And he doesn't really use like traditional Sith stuff, like he's not shooting lightning or whatever, but he is like using like more of like in tune with the Force because his helmet lets him like attune to the Force more or some shit. And yeah, so seeing him just like kill everyone was really cool. His lightsaber kind of like detaches to be like two lightsabers or whatever. That was also kind of cool. So his helmet's a little extra, like he has like the Joker smile on it. I'm like, all right, we get it, you're evil. But it was still really cool. Like I think the fight scene was really good. Like it was very well like choreographed and stuff. So I don't think we've seen a lightsaber fight that good for quite a while. I don't think.
Yeah, especially the fact that the whole episode was just like that, multiple different Jedi trying to take him on at once, and obviously none of them succeeding.
Jobbers.
But, you're seeing also the story of May and Osha and Sol, slowly advancing with the reveal of Qimir. Like it was so interesting to see how his relationship with Osha is different from May. Like he was with May like the whole time, and he never let May see him. And then the moment he's with Osha, it's like, I'm fucking butt ass naked. Like, what's up? Like, holy shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, he's obviously looking for someone that, can be, I guess he called his acolyte, but also like someone that he is, that can be his apprentice, that isn't necessarily just seeking revenge, because that's all May was looking for, was to just kill the 4 Jedi that messed up her planet as she views it. But Qimir is looking for someone that will lead, I guess, within his movement that he believes in further. And obviously, the conversations that he has with Osha is also very interesting, because he's just like, it's just labels, it's sort of like power and all this other shit. I'm like, yeah, like he's making sense, but like at the same time, like he is like the bad guy, if you will. But I guess depending on how you view it, he might be the good guy, and the Jedi might be the bad people, because also that green character, I don't even know her fucking name, but she's obviously holding
Nebula.
Like she's holding like some sort of information as well, because like when she goes on that planet, like she knows stuff, like she knows what happened there, but she doesn't want to say just yet, which maybe Sol knows, maybe Sol doesn't, but once again, Lee Jung-jae, he delivers a fantastic performance, and his character, we get to see a Jedi who is also just like more human. I feel like a lot of the Jedi characters, even back then, they were very much like, just like, this is the order, this is the way of things, and he's very much like, I guess, like a fucking human character, which is like very nice to see. It's a very nice change of pace. The fact that he drew a lot of inspiration from Qui-Gon, I can see that. I could see that within his performance in his character.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite characters, like in the show. I think he's shown like a lot of like emotions that Jedi aren't really supposed to feel. I mean, mostly when you're seeing like, your Padawan get like stabbed, like it's just like, yeah, that kind of sucks. So seeing him like kind of resort to like that anger, but still sort of resisting it, it was pretty interesting. How this guy is like sort of like, he wants to like break down where I think his goal, again, he's very similar to like Revan, being like, he's not really like a Sith, like he is Sith, or I guess, but he's more like more like just use the Force how you want. Like it shouldn't be dictated by rules or whatever. And that's pretty interesting because, I think a lot of the Sith in the earlier Star Wars stuff I think they would have been all in on the revenge stuff that May was feeling, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, give in to the dark, whatever, fuck, But, this guy is a lot more like, he doesn't want that either. Like he just wants, Force users to just be able to do whatever they want, it's just like, why should we follow these rules or whatever? And I think he's even trying to convince Soul being like, yeah, do it. Like if you think killing me unarmed is the smart move, then you should do it, which yeah, probably is the smart move. But like, it's like, I got to stick to the code. Same thing with Osha, where it's just like, no, I can't do that. So, and he just sees that as more like of a weakness than anything. So, yeah, he's a lot more closer to like the center than like dark or light, but like he still is kind of an asshole. So yeah, but it is interesting to see that sort of like dynamic there because I feel like the movies don't get into it as much than the extended media do. Like the extended media is very like obsessed with like the not dark, not light side of the Force or whatever the fuck. So him being that sort of character is pretty interesting. But yeah, I think I keep forgetting his name, the Sith Lord guy. What's his name?
Qimir.
Amir?
Okay. Qimir. My bad.
Qimir. Yeah, like Qimir and Soul are both like definitely like probably the two best characters in the show because I think their acting has been really good. And I think they're really conveying like what their sort of like ideologies are in terms of like their thinking of the Force or whatever. So I think that's really interesting. And honestly, I will be shocked if like Soul doesn't like get like destroyed by the end of this. Not in terms of killed, but like his spirit in terms of like Jedi Order or whatever. Like I could definitely see him like leaving like the Jedi way after this this mission because it's just like, how do you continue on like this after like seeing everything you just saw, So I think that they're doing a really good job with those two characters in particular. So
yeah, and there's only 2 episodes left, so I'm very interested to see how this show's gonna end because it really is getting to that climax point, and how they're gonna end it off within these next 2 episodes is gonna be interesting. But yeah, Qimir is, he's fucking great. He's not just eye candy. Like he's actually like a very interesting character.
Yeah, they're thirst trapping him the shit out of him.
Hey, like I'm not opposed to it. I just wish that we got to see his ass cheeks. That's all I'm saying. But
I was expecting like a Jin Sakai thing. Like you just see his fucking butt cheeks going inside the fucking thing.
But this is Star Wars, so kids might be watching. So we can't be showing straight ass like the boys or whatever. But yeah, just a great show so far. I feel like leading up to episode 5 and 6, I was like, okay, like this is good stuff, but like where is it leading to? And now episode 5 and 6 really do like explain more and sort of give, I feel like, viewers a better idea of like what the fuck is going on here. So yeah, can't wait to see how the show ends off. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Damian?
No, besides like that weird gerbil guy that's still like running around the ship. Like,
oh, what, the beaver guy?
Yeah, the beaver guy. I keep forgetting he's in there until he shows up like, and then like just runs away. I don't know, every time he shows up, I just laugh because I'm like, who the fuck even is this guy? Like, I know he was a tracker, but like he's still here. But yeah, no, the show's good, and I'm excited to see like where it goes for the next 2 episodes.
Star Wars always got to have their funny little guys running around.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 141. We will see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode.
Later.